Hey everyone, welcome to this live stream, and we'll be continuing our work with the Explode app, which is a desktop application that lets you manage your packages dependencies, manage your project dependencies by using an interactive interface that we are building on live stream. Right. So on the last live stream, we added the feature where we could install a package. So we could you could select a package and then select a different version and hit update to an update to that version basically. So this is something that we built in the last live stream. So we added this kind of log thing that post installation shows you the logs of the installation and everything. Where we are in the last live stream. So for today, I have a few things to manage right now. If you'll see, like, this is the default screen, which means I have a default path to a particular project that opens up by default, right? So for today, I have a few things. First of all is to create a startup screen that would be shown to the users when they open the project. They'll be seeing a startup screen that will have basically two things. First of all, it will have an input essentially asking them to select a project, right? This is something that they'll be able to do. They'll select a project. Now they'll be able to select a project, and based on that, I'll be opening this interface for them. Like, based on whichever project they have selected, I'll be loading that project's dependencies into the UI, right? So let's start with that now. First thing that we need to figure out is how we can make a functionality that lets you select a folder. So of course we will be using the select file or select that dialog that opens up to let you select a file, but we can't essentially use that because it's specifically for a file, right? So that's not something that we can use, but since we're using Electron, so Electron has a couple of functionality that lets you do that. So if we look around and look for Electron Dialog, not undefined, Electron Dialog, we can check out the documentation for it, and here you'll see they have this object that lets you do following things like opening and saving files and everything, and alerting. So on Windows, I'm not sure about Mac OS, but on Windows, if you do something that's not supposed to happen, you get an alert dialog that says what went wrong, right? That's something that this dialog will let you know that you do, like opening files and saving files and everything, right? So this is a bit of logic for that. See, so we got a show open dialog. We have a synchronous method that lets you open file, open directory, multi-selection, show hidden files. These is specific to macOS. To create. There's all aliases and everything. Okay, so we can set I'm guessing the text title that you get on this window, the open window. It's something that you can set with title. It can be displayed or selected when you want to limit. Nice. So we'll be, I'm not sure what's the extension or type of folder, but let's see. File selector and direct selector. If you set properties, open file, open directory. So this is something that we need to do, open directory, because we want to open a folder in which we'll look for the package JSON to validate if it's a valid project or not. So we do require a package JSON to be there in the project. That's the only way we'll know like what dependencies does this project have. right? So we'll use the show open dialog, and okay, this is how you can do it, right? Now this is fine, but I don't think we can access it directly into our renderer, that is the Next.js, right? So we cannot access it directly, so we'll have to use something called, like, we'll have to find a way to communicate between the renderer, that is the Next.js part, or the front end side of it, and the Electron side of it, that would be the main part, just essentially the window that now. So we'll need a way to communicate in between, and because this essentially doesn't work in the browser environment. It's not something that the browser has, right? This is coming from the Electron itself, right? So I think with that we'd have to look into the documentation for Electron. So if we'll look into this documentation, IPC main, where it says that you can communicate asynchronously between main process and the renderer process, where the main process is essentially this backend part of it, of the Electron, where you create a window and everything, right? And second thing is the renderer for the Next.js portion of it, or the client side, of the view side of it, right? So it has a couple of methods. It has a .on. Okay. I think this is the function that we could use, the IPC.main handle, the IPC.handle, because it says that we can add a handler that is invocable, right? So this is something. So we need access to the dialog, which stays in the main part of the Electron, right? And we need to be able to invoke it from the renderer portion of it, right, from the browser. So it lets us add a, so I think we can use this. So let's see, IPC main, and this comes from Electron. Yeah. So let's try this. Let's go to our main, which is this, and in here we'll import the IPC main. Okay, right, and we need to register a handle. So IPC main dot handle, and then we have this channel and listener. So listener, channel is a string and listener is a function or promise that sends events and args. So I think channel is a string, so we'll pass select folder of model, let's call it model, folder window. And second one is a function which they call as a listener, and that gives us an event, right? Like this. And for now I'll just return hello, right? And let's see how we can access it. Electron access IPC main handle. Oh, okay, so that's how they named it. So there's two things, IPC main, IPC renderer, which is essentially means the Electron side of it is the IPC main, because it's called main, and then we have IPC renderer that's named with this IPC renderer. So I'm thinking this IPC main is how you define some handles, custom logic, and then IPC render is what you can use to access something, right? And let's see. So IPC, so it's a invocable, right? And we have a function such as IPC renderer.invoke. So let's use that. Where do we import it from? There's a bit of logic that explains what you need to do. Right, so let's import it. Let's go to our home page and do import renderer, and then it says that you can do it like this. So we called it select mode folder window, yeah, and we can invoke it like this. Let's do that. So to invoke it, I think we can create a button, just call it select folder, and on click we can invoke this, and it's not concept, and we call it select folder window, right? And let's quickly just console the response or result. Let's go back to our app. Have that. Let's open DevTools. Let's see. And click on select folder. We get this select folder window invoking remote method. Select folder window, no handler. Registered for select folder window. Let's just copy this. Here. That seems same. Let's restart maybe. Okay, so we get the hello, right? So okay, I was expecting a pop-up to open, but we didn't write that functionality yet. But so I'm just returning a hello. That's why I got the hello in console. Now what we need to do is to look into this and do this. So dialog comes from I'm guessing Electron. Let's go back to the dialog, and in here we need to do this. This should be the window, right? We don't want to do both of them, just want the directory. Open directory, then from the result we get cancel and file paths. So let's just choose structure, file paths as paths. And return it like this. So return B and return. And since this one is asynchronous, I'm guessing that yeah, this is asynchronous, so we should probably use promises. So we can do return new promise, yeah, that. Yeah, so this is GitHub Copilot just doing the exact same thing that I wrote here, but in a promise-ified way, as in the resolve and reject. So let's use that. So it passes it like this. Oh yeah, that's wrong. Then paths, it would be file pass, right? And I'll just make this, and it would come from an object. Paths like this, and this is all going to be checked, right? And failed to open the directory folder. Fail to, let's say, select the folder, select the project. Fail to select the project, much appropriate. And this, we need to have a catch. And we can just reject it with error dot message, right? Okay. We need to pass the window object as well. Seems fine. And that. Yeah, we're not really using it, so I can just empty it out, and let's so with that autocomplete doing its job, I think I should be getting the path, right? So wait, is there an open directory multi-selection? So we didn't do multi-selection, so I can just do this. That means we should be able to do it, and let's try. First of all, open the console in case. Hey Rohit, welcome to the live stream. I'm glad you found this interesting. So this is the first time I'm working with Electron, not something that I have worked with before. So I'm using this Nextron starter project or something to just so that I can work on my application, not have to worry about setting up everything from the scratch. Right, so we are building select folder functionality. Okay. Select tabs. Yeah, so we're getting the path. This is the path that we require. So if you'll notice, if we go back to index.csx where we have hard-coded the folder path, so this is exactly where the path is going to go now. Right, so you'll be able to, as a user, you'll be able to select a different folder, different project. Right now, I think before we move on, we need to make sure that the path that the user has selected, the folder that the user has selected, is indeed a project that has a package JSON. So I can do, let's get fs from fs, and we can do if fs.exist sync that, and plus we want to just check if there's a package JSON file or not. Package.json. Yeah, if it does exist, that means it is a valid project, so we can return with this. Else we can do else and say please select a valid project with a package JSON file. Well, let's try that. We're not consoling. Are we consoling the errors? No. Let's see. So select a folder and select the tags one. It should select. Go back and create a new folder, ABC. Let's see if it selects it or not. Yeah, so we got the error saying that the invoking remote method, please select a valid project with a package.json file. Wasn't expecting this. I was just expecting this. But yeah, since I passed it with reject. But if I did, would it be different? So ABC. Yeah, it's not. Okay. Right, so we have that setup, and we can get on with it. So now that we have the functionality to select a folder, and we get that here, right? In the result, what we can do is we can change it here. So let's pass in, let's call set path. And we can actually do just this. Should be fine, because any errors that comes up will be thrown into this. So let's try that. Select a folder, ABC, we get an error. I'll pass this into toast notification or something. So maybe we should do not a valid and we should do this and define the error messages at the front end, on the front end side of it. So we can say here fail to open. I'll just say not valid and fail to open. Right, and let's go back. So we're setting the path that should change this ideally. So I'm expecting as soon as I select a folder, it should be changing this whole dependencies with that project's dependencies. So let's select. That's good. Okay, that works. Select the one. That works, and this one doesn't have dependencies. Now that we know that it doesn't have, let's go and style this one to say text white so we can see it. Let's select another one. Let's go back to the tabs. This is the one that I've been experimenting with for the whole live streams. So here we can go into select a different version, update, and it install all the required packages, required versions, and we can. So right now I don't have, so it doesn't refresh on its own. So if I do this, then it shows 2.5. So that's something that I have to do. Let's create a issue for that. Refresh, update, packages, table, installing package. Right, so we have that. So before we move on, this is just the functionality, the logic part of it. Let's work with the UI a little bit, and we need to create a project, a layout that's like that lets you select different projects. So for example, so end goal with this functionality would be is that right now you can select a folder and just work with that. Later on, what I'll have is I'll store which which all the projects that the user has opened so far and show it as a list somewhere, so they can quickly open it instead of having them open a folder dialog and select the look for the folder again and again. So I'll be storing them later, but for now we'll just give you functionality to just basically do this select folder and show you which folder you have opened up, part to it basically, right? So let's do, so if we have the path, that's all we need to pretty much do most of it, because from the path we can say like which project name is it and everything. I mean, this we can also do from the package JSON where it says the name of the project. The package JSON is not that. This, so this essentially, this can also be used. Right now we have the ability to, so let's make it empty, and if I refresh, does it throw in? Oh yeah, it just do that. So if I refresh, so essentially there's no path, and I shouldn't be running this if there's no path. Do that and only run it if there's a path. Now if there isn't one, so we should probably not show this and instead show a GUI with it. So essentially this, if right, if there's no path, we should return, let's just return that button for now, and we'll do the rest later. So it just says select folder, right? And if I select a folder, let's select this one, it now shows the packages, dependencies, and hides that select folder, right? But we still need a way to again select a different project, because now that it's gone, I have no way of selecting a new project. Second, I'll take a quick break. Right, we'll come to that later. Let's just I think we can do away with adding a header sort of thing that says, I mean, there's a multiple ways of doing it, like you can only open one project at once, so you can have maybe a tab based interface that lets you work with multiple projects at once. But for now I think we'll just do like one project at a time thing. So probably we should add a header. So I'll just let's add that. So this portion of the project goes here, goes here. Now I can do this. So I'll be using a common header, so I'm moving it there. So if there's not this, that means I want to render this button, right? And otherwise this, I mean, this is essentially the same thing, but with this I'll be able to share a header. So let's do a header that says that has let's add a button. We'll have it at the top left, and we can go into icon.xvg and get ourselves a plus icon. Oh, should have been plus. And let's go back and check, open up, and say plus let's say add tsx, export. Okay, and that. So this portion I'm only doing it because I want to. This is how it's done in when you want to use Tailwind to style your SVGs. So it just says let's call it add, and we can go to the index and export it. Add. Now that we have that, we can come here and do icon dot not icon checks icon dot add, and here comes the Tailwind part that says current, and let's import icons. Import everything as icon. Just wait. I'll be back. So we were doing /asset/icons. Oh yeah, okay. So if we save this, we should see it here, right? Now this is the button where I'll be actually be doing this now. So let's move that there, and I can see if there's a path, only then render this, right? We can have, let's not have it, let's do it like this. Let's have an empty state instead of that, and say start by selecting a folder. We'll add a illustration or something later. So that, just make it text white, right? And let's just do that as well. I mean, better now than later. So I'll head over to this. It was called Undraw. That has pretty good illustrations. Open source illustrations, right? And I can look for empty since we have a dark background. We should look for something that is, yeah, I think I think this should be fine for us. Let's copy this. Let's try it out first and we'll see if it works for us or not. And let's go back to our code, and in here, not in here, go to assets and do halo slash let's just call it illustrations slash empty.txt. So I like to make them React components. That way I can change the dimensions and everything. So for example, this height and width. Yeah. for example, this height and width is something that I want it to be comfortable. So we'll do a size, since it's usually squarish. For example, there we can do by default, let's make it 240. That should be fine. And I'll convert this into size and size, fine. And let's check for, yeah, that's just fine. Right, let's try this out. Go back to this and do index.tsx so we can export it. And let's do export everything from now we can, let's make this a section. We can extract this as a component later on, empty state component or something, but I'll have it like this first for now. And I can say do the same except for illustrations, and go back here and do illustrations, just illustration. So illustration dot empty, right? And this one probably because of that size. Yeah, we use JSX component. Return that. Wait, I didn't return or something. Oh, okay. That's fine. So let's save that. And okay, was not expecting that. Let's go back here. And let's just try blue. Should be maybe yellow. Download that. View, copy. I can get rid of that. Back to empty, and we can just replace this whole thing. Go back to the top, save it, make this size. Right. Looks fine. Where are the lines? Were there any lines? What? Okay. It's because this color is somewhat similar to the background that I have, so I'm trying to refrain from using one. I mean, I can just, I guess, change the color from here, right? And let's just do that. So we have, or we can do it in Figma, of course. Didn't have to go to Figma and do the magic there. And play that. Download this again. I mean, already had this, but okay. Get this out of the way. And what? That's weird. So I want this to have, oh, let's quickly go back to our application, see what all colors we are using. So for the is it here? So for the background we're using this. Just add it here first. And why is it it's not filling in? Is it a stroke? I'm guessing it's a, oh yeah, that's why. Okay, I was thinking of filling the whole thing, but that. Let's make that white. And maybe we should do this color, but make it lighter. This one can also be like this. Right, and this one can go be this color, so there is a transparency. Or I can just not have it and make this have a stroke of this, and move the fill, increase the stroke. Okay. Wow, what? Could have done a better job than this. Let's select the rectangle. Let's quickly do this on our own. The color that we have for our background is this one. Just create let's just store the palette, but yeah. So let's make this that same color, but make it lighter and have a border radius. Like that, and then you can duplicate it, make it smaller, and make that color that's somewhat gray. And you can choose this. Let's make it bluish, like that, and you can have a rectangle. Let's make that. Wait, what did I select here? Let's have a rectangle, make it this color. We can do border radius, make it centered, pull it little back up, and add that circle. And make it have a stroke, border radius, not a red. And let's add a point here, and a point here, and a point here, this to be, and I can do this. Right, so there's one. And of course I can add lines and everything. Probably should. And make them 3 and rounded. Right. Effects. Not bad. Yeah. A line here, a line there. And a line at the bottom. And that should be fine. Let's group this and duplicate. And duplicate and make this one like that, and have this as this. Yeah, this works. It's all right. Group it, convert it into a frame like that. Okay, and export as SVG, that, Go back here, do Control U, Control copy, and then I'll go to this website OMG SVG that does sanitization or just minifies your SVGs. This one, and I can paste my SVG code and copy it, so it reduces its size and removes unnecessary things we don't necessarily need. So let's go back to our code and go to this, do this. So let's save that. We are size like we wanted. So yeah, this is fine. So size is there. We wanted this should be clip path, otherwise I'll throw that warning thing. So this should be camel case like that. Are there any? Yeah. W fine cap, and we should be fine. So with okay. Is it because we didn't define the view box or whatever it's called? Let me quickly download this again and I'll open this and check out the source code, and here we'll see the view box. So we had it as I think 420 and 425 and 27 something, so let's do 400, and it doesn't really matter, so I'll just 425 and it should be fine, I guess. Yeah, with that we can move ahead, and yeah, it's fine. So we have our empty illustration and everything. Let's move this down to up and then have TW flex, justify center, or was it our item center? Okay, flex all and then justify center. I just randomly throw in lines and it works. And then I can do item center to actually, yeah, I'll just do text center. Should I make it a P? That should work. It didn't. Let's add a border. And I'll be back in a short while. It should be, let's add a border. I mean, it's because I'm most likely the dimensions of it and it is centered, but let's see. Yeah, so it is centered is just because it because of the visually looks technically it's center, but visually centered. But anyway, it's fine. Just add empty that and should be okay. Save that, yeah, right, and just have empty of date. So it says so let's start by selecting a folder. And let's just do that. So let's style our header. TW, I'm going to H10, right? And we'll add a background. BG gray 700. I should be do maybe go in the 600, 800, 800. Wait, what? Is this yeah, that's fine. Let's do that, and then we can come here and do H full W10 flex to center these icons. Center, justify center this, right? And we can have a border R and border white. Let's not do border white, and let's do indigo and 700. Or maybe try 300. No. Or we can just do indigo 600. Yeah, it should be fine. Let's make it 4 and the text, and this 2 text white, like that. Okay, should work. Yeah, so let's quickly add a title saying select project. So it does that. So click on this, will select a project, and soon we need a H3 that will say we can use and as soon as we have that, we'll have a file will have, let's see what we get in file. Get to this API, in API file we get parse everything, and the file has a name, that is the packages and the name inside the packages, and we can use that to file dot name. So as soon as that comes up, it's going to show. So click on this, let's just select tags, and is there an error? Doesn't look like it. So what? Let's just add our types. I mean, there will always be a name, so I can do that, but so let's go do its chart and do this and do this. Wait, what's happening? What did I change? So what we changed was this, the one that I can remember. Let's console this value and see if it gets something. And do this again, that, maybe that, no, that's it. Tag, we get that, so it is being set. this is what caused it. I'm guessing this is why, but it shouldn't be. Let's see. Yeah, it's probably because that. File and everything. Oh, wait. So if the path dot trim, I should have done opposite, and it should show. Yeah. Why isn't it showing the name? Let's open the packages of this. Is there no? Oh yeah. And this project doesn't have a name, so why would it? Let's just quickly call it tab, and select the folder again, and yeah, we have to select different project. Let's select this one. Let's go and we see the name. Let's go back and select the tags again. Just look at it. Okay, now that we have the name, we can do select items center type and do pwml2 and text lg and text white. We should also have type. Like that. Now that we have a title and everything showing up, I'll do this one thing. I'll say project and like this. Now that we have the project selected, you can still go to the plus, click on the plus button, select a different project, and you'll be able to see the project. Right. So I think with this, so this becomes our home screen, I guess. You come to this, so this the idea that I have now, having implemented that, is that if on this screen I can probably in the future say show the previously opened projects, so that the project you previously visited, a list of those maybe, and at the top then also have a button saying like open a new project, select a new project, right? So that would essentially mean that we don't need this anymore, but yeah, that's that. So we'll have a button that says open a project as well here, as well have it here, and then have a list of projects later on that we will store somewhere, which I have no idea right now, but yeah. So that will do that. But with this, I think let's go back to our GitHub and check our pack. Not that. So we had so we have a startup screen. This will essentially be the startup screen. It's essentially will be same as the VS Code. So if I open a new VS Code, new VS Code window, you see something. I mean that of course, but where you go, it used to show a bunch of things here, like shortcuts, guides, documentation, and everything. But anyway, right? So we have it was actually not an input, but a file dialog or a file opener or like folder model or something. So this we have done. So we do have a project-based interface that lets you select a different project and everything, right? So we can be done with these two. So if I mark these two done, is it gonna mark these done as well? Doesn't look like it. So I'll just put this into done. So in 5, go back to this, mark this into done. Go back to 5. Yeah, I could have done it from here as well. Like I could have just put this here. So this is something that we'll be doing later on, but yeah. So done with this, move to done, and we can close these three, mark as closed with them being solved and everything, right? So we can close this as well. Now with this done, I think we are set for today's live stream, and we have basically implemented a project-based interface in which you can now select a different project, right? You get the functionality to select a different project, and from there you can you can switch between projects and everything, right? This switch to this one, for example, you'll see their dependencies and everything, right? And if we just go back to this, select a package, select a different version to install, and just do updating, and there we go. So with that, we are set for today's live stream, and that's it, folks. And in the next one, I'll probably be doing I'll work on the project itself. For example, that issue that we created in today's live stream, where we as soon as I updated this one still showed 2.5, so we should probably refresh it or something, or recall that query, right? So that's one thing to do that we'll be doing in the next stream. And another thing is so with this you can just update package to a particular version. So what I'll do next is to be able to like add a new package, add the ability to select a new package or something, right? So you'll be able to install the package from here as well, not just update it. So that's one thing for the next stream. All right, guys, let's close the stream, and I'll see you guys in the next one.